Once upon a time during the Warring States period, there lived an old monkey keeper in the state of Song. He always fed a monkey 4 acorns in the morning and 4 acorns in the evening. They got along fairly well. A few years later, as the old man got worse off, he could not afford to do so anymore. Then he decided to cut 1 acorn short. The monkeys became furious and yelled to protest as they realized they would get 3 acorns in the morning and 4 in the evening. Seeing this, the old man craftily changed the plan and gave them 4 in the morning and 3 in the evening. This time, all the monkeys turned happy. The 2 plans do not make any difference in the total number of acorns distributed. They are essentially the same. The superficial change of the arrangements may only fool the monkeys. With this story, the sage tries to help people break all the smoke and mirrors to get at the nature of things. The truly wise man should be able to see through the deceptive appearance and grasp the fundamental law of nature. Who do you think this sage might be? Take a guess. After the lecture on different schools of master swords, I believe you could figure out the answer immediately. As the story calls for people to follow the natural law, it is a typical Taoist lesson by Zhuangzi. This allegory has now turned into a Chinese idiom, 朝三暮四, literally translated as 3 in the morning, 4 in the evening. Originally, it means just as the story suggests, to fool others by playing tricks. Over the time, it is more often used to describe those who change their minds frequently. Such stories are not uncommon in the classic masterpieces of ancient schools of thought, among which Confucianism and Taoism definitely come top on the list in terms of both significance and influence. As the first private teacher in China, Confucius is undoubtedly the leading figure of the Confucianist school. His ideas are best known via 论语 or Confucian Analects. Compiled by some of the Confucius followers, this is a collection of the words and deeds by Confucius and his students. Other than Confucius, the representatives of the school also include Mencius and Xunzi. The Confucian Analects and the works of Mencius fall into the collection of the 4 books and 5 classics, all canonized as the Confucianist classics, aiming to settle the rules for honorable social behaviors. For example, be not ashamed of mistakes and thus make them crimes. In Chinese, 知错能改, 善莫大焉. When I work along with 2 others, from at least one I will be able to learn. In Chinese, 三人行, 必有我师. These are all famous quotes from Confucian Analects that even pupils in China are familiar with. Taoism teaches the importance of nature and encourages people to give up worldly desires while treating nature with respect and reverence. The classics of Taoism are Laozi and Zhuangzi, where both sages deliver their philosophical thoughts and the reflections on their daily observations through profound words, allegorical stories, and metaphors. Among all chapters in Zhuangzi, A Happy Excursion on Leveling All Things are both well-known discourses on the Taoist worldviews. Though completed thousands of years ago, these classic works never go out of date. Their everlasting influence penetrates into the life of Chinese people and guides people's values consciously or unconsciously. Many of the words and the meanings carried between lines have passed from mouth to mouth thanks to the sages' good storytelling skills. When we're kids, we like to listen to stories. As we grow up, we keep journals, read fictions, and watch movies, which are more or less about storytelling. It seems we cannot live our life without stories. Then, how to tell a good story? We need to master some narrative skills. In this section, we will look into the elements and notes indispensable for the narrative writing. Then, we will figure out a framework so that we could tell a good story. And finally, after enjoying a classic Chinese water ink animation, we will try to apply the narrative skills into practical use and retell the allegories from the work of Zhang's. In this way, having an enlightening dialogue with the Chinese sages. We initiate with analysis of the philosophical story above to make an example. In the story, there are 3 essential elements: character, conflict, and conclusion. The main characters include a monkey keeper and this group of naughty monkeys. Then, it is the monkey keeper's distributing arrangement that conflicts with the monkey's habitual expectation, which the story centers on. Finally, it reaches a happy ending, offering a resolution to the conflict and delivering a message to the readers. Apart from these 3 elements, there are 2 more things to bear in mind. The first is about the tense. Always remember to use the same tense constantly throughout the story. The past tense is often applicable, like the part in the story concerning what happened in the past. Once upon a time during the Warring States period, there lived an old monkey keeper in the state of Song. He always fed a monkey 4 acorns in the morning and 4 acorns in the evening. They got along fairly well. Well, the present tense is not infeasible, as it's often used to make analysis, express opinions, and give comments. The 2 plants do not make any difference in the total number of acorns distributed. They are essentially the same. With this story, the sage tries to help people break all the smoke and the mirrors to get at the nature of things. The other one concerns the direct and indirect speech. It is not uncommon for the characters in a story to talk to each other. In this case, if you choose to use quotation marks for the direct speech, don't forget to change the narrative perspectives. We don't have a dialogue in the writing sample, but if we like, we can make up a dialogue for the monkey keeper and the monkeys to make a more lively story. The monkeys yelled to protest. "How dare you cut down on our acorns? We want more! We want more!" The old man rolled his eyes and got an idea in a blink. "All right, folks, I will still give you 4 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. See, better now." The monkeys hurried immediately, without giving it a thought. They wouldn't think it straight anyway. See, the conversations liven the story up and project stronger characters. Now, we figure out an overall outline for reference. First, to initiate the story, we gave some background information: the time, the place, and most importantly, the characters. Next, to develop the story, we state what happens and gradually unfold how it is going that way, with all serving to aim at a central conflict. Finally, to conclude the story, we disclose why this is all happening. This is when the theme of the story is revealed and the message delivered. Keep in mind the 3 C's: character, conflict, and conclusion, as well as the 2 notes regarding tense and quotes. Now that we have everything we need in hand, let's first enjoy a classic ink animation: the cicada, mantis, and yellow bird, produced by Shanghai Animation Film Studio. And then try to retell this proverbial story in a more complete version from Zhuangzi's A Mountain Tree, in Chinese, 山木. One day, Zhuangzi was wandering in the yard. A peculiar yellow bird bumped into his forehead, fled away into the woods, and perched on a branch. Zhuangzi stamped his feet and yelled, "What kind of bird this is? Can't you fly with such widespread wings? Can't you see with such big eyes?" He could not help tailing after the yellow bird into the woods on tiptoe and lurking to shoot it with his crossbow, when he saw a cicada rest under the tree shade by putting itself in peril. Then a mantis hidden behind the leaves preyed on the cicada without noticing the approaching danger. This time, the yellow bird in its turn took advantage of the situation and caught the mantis, exposing itself to Zhuangzi's hunting. Instead of seeking revenge, Zhuangzi sighed upon reflection. All things in the world are interrelated. Gains and losses could come in couples. He dropped the crossbow and left. The cicada, mantis, and yellow bird all make the same mistake, for their short-sightedness. In this way, the story warns against any immediate interests and calls for a long-term view. The sage wants people to take all potential dangers into a thorough consideration and weigh up the gains and losses before making any decisions. In this section, we have gone through some philosophical fables, as well as the tips and the notes for the narrative writing. I'm sure you would rather read these interesting stories for a better understanding of the sage's philosophical thoughts. After this lesson, refer to the writing outline and share with us your favorite philosophical stories.